I thought something like this might happen. I just have to be very careful not to let it get incredibly out of control. By now, if you followed the channel, you probably saw me do a video on this, the Nikkor 35mm f1.4G. I got this because I got the Nikon F5. I found out that my Godox trigger from my Godox flash works perfectly fine with this, which means I can use this in the studio. On here, I currently have one of my favorite lenses ever, the Nikkor 105mm f2.5. Incredible lens. 105, I know from experience, a little too long for the studio. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. This 35mm, it's awesome because it works well adapted to my mirrorless cameras, but it's a little wide for the studio. So here we go. Did I need another old lens? No, not really. But the lens in the title of this video and the contents of this box from KEH, I got for like no money. I'm not going to marvel at my success until I see the condition. Supposedly, it's supposed to be in really good condition. It's verified according to this paper. It is indeed in excellent condition. Wow, KEH has stepped up their packaging. It's kind of lame it's not reusable. And there we have it, the incredibly teeny tiny AF Nikkor 50mm f1.8D. It weighs absolutely nothing. I mean, this thing is not just in excellent condition as advertised, but it's actually, it looks brand new. Absolutely brand new. There's not a scuff one on it. Now, adapting this to a mirrorless camera, since it's a D lens, meaning it's screw drive autofocus, it will not autofocus. I can actually feel it latched in to the screw, so that's good. Let's turn on the F5, make sure it autofocuses. It does, and it's actually really, really fast. And it actually looks absolutely spectacular through the optical viewfinder. Holding it up to the light, it looks absolutely perfect. Let's turn that off so I don't accidentally snap a shot through it. I was really excited. I took the F5 to the studio. I didn't take any real shots with it. I just did a test shot to make sure that the Godox X Pro whatever would actually trigger. It does, of course it does. And that made me want to kind of do some studio portraits, maybe some studio bodyscapes on film. And you know, the 35mm, it gets, you know, like the edge of my backdrop, and it just wasn't gonna work, right? And so I generally shoot with the 50mm f1.2 stopped down to 6.3 whenever I'm in the studio, so I know 50mm works. And so that is why I ended up with this. I ended up with it because I want to shoot it on film. I have absolutely no reason to use that adapted to mirrorless. However, just to check out the image quality, that way I don't have to wait for a roll of film to come back, we are going to do that right now. We're already losing light pretty bad. I think we can get some shots. This is what we usually use to test our red saturation. Yellow saturation here. Some green. Guess we can do some black and white ability over here. This is our classic black and white ability spot. It's kind of too dark to get like stopped down, but I do want to see if I can try without introducing too much noise. If I can see how sharp this is, maybe we'll just do f2.8 for now. That should be all right. God, we're losing light fast. It's a bit of a long shot, but I might have an opportunity to see what the bokeh does over there. Just gotta find something to focus on. Something artistic and wonderful and world-changing. Get maybe some of these leaves over here. You know, when you come back to these old lenses, you kind of forget that there was a time where bokeh balls were bokeh stop signs. A couple of notes from the field. The manual focusing on this, while very light, is not super duper smooth. Now, this can be something that works in over time, but I mean, because this thing, I mean, it is pretty much brand new, regardless of what they said about excellent condition. I mean, it's such an old lens, that's probably the only thing you can call it, but it's basically brand new. So while very light to turn, it's not exactly smooth, and I think I can show you exactly what I mean. See that? So it's light, and with enough pressure, you can move it very easy, but it's not a very fine. It's light, but not fine. So it's just something to think about. I'm not that worried about it because I won't be using this on adapted to my mirrorless cameras. I will be using this auto-focusing on the F5, which we saw is very quick. Now we can jump into Lightroom and take a closer look. Depending on what I see in there, depends on whether I'm going to be ecstatic about what I paid for it, or whether I'm just like, yeah, okay, because I need something. And then I'll tell you how much I paid for this lens in 2024. All right, so we've got our first little check here of the red saturation. Red looks really good. There's a lot of punch to this lens. There's a ton of separation here. It just kind of stands off of the image, and this is such a simple shot, and we're already seeing that. I'd say yellow looks really, really good. And we got nice bubbliness back here as well. Getting over to this lighter, this is a very dull blue on this lighter, but it looks more saturated than natural. And now I would rather have a blue sky to check this on, but you know, we're dealing with pretty low light. It's in the evening when this showed up, so this is what we have. I can tell you blues are just a little more, a medium amount more saturated than natural. The greens, more saturated than normal, so that's good. Very colorful lens. That's what we've got. We've got a very colorful lens. Looking at our black and white ability, I can already tell that there's a lot of punch on this lens. It really stands off of the image, which is something you don't see a whole lot anymore. Now I took this shot for black and white ability. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it looks very good in black and white. But the point I'm making, you get good black and white ability these days, and you get good separation and, you know, that punch, that 3D effect. But it was just much more common back in this era. You know what I mean? There are some modern lenses that have it, but this is so, for a 50mm to just be this, just standing off of the out of focus areas, you don't see that a whole lot anymore. It's of course a little soft at f1.8, as was common back in the day. This is the one we took for sharpness. We did this at f2.8, 500 ISO. So I see some grain that you probably won't see on your end of YouTube, but I do still see some fringing, which is kind of just normal back then. This has been mostly corrected out of modern Nikon lenses. You don't see a whole lot of fringing anymore. And it's a little bit soft. It's not clinically sharp like we see in modern lenses, but that's just part of the charm. It's fine. If I step back a little bit from the subject, it will sharpen up. I'm not real close to minimum focus, but I'm not real far away from it either. If we back this up a little bit, it'll be totally fine. I do want to see what this will look like in black and white. I mean, it's awesome. It looks really, really good. Let's throw my preset Gravedigger, which, by the way, if you want my presets, that's the best way to help the channel. Currently, nobody gets a cut. It's all me. Whoa. Gravedigger is out of control. This is that silvery effect that you don't get on a lot of modern lenses. You have to do a lot of editing to get the silvery look, right? That awesome, almost metallic punch. You do not get that pretty much on any modern lens. None of the current Nikon Z mount lenses will give this to you with one click, right? You have to do a lot of extra work, and you're still not going to be perfectly metallic looking. But this is just something you get out of older lenses that just have this incredible punch. BW Grits and Gravy, same kind of thing. It's not as contrasty as Gravedigger, and this is not a sales pitch for these presets, right? This is a sales pitch for this lens. It's just standing off. This would look so good on like a glossy paper. Man, this just looks so good. Here we got Back Alley Blue. That looks pretty cool. And if we throw Bonjour Blast on there, this is what I miss about old lenses. Now I like the clinical nature of lenses these days. You know, they do more good than they do bad, but this is not even black and white, and we still have almost a metallic feel to it, right? And you just don't see that anymore. These old lenses are so much fun. They just have such a neat look that's kind of lost in modern glass. This is still shot at f2.8, way underexposed. There's just a bit of a glow to it because the lenses are just imperfect, right? But there's a bit of a glow. I'm too close to this to get like peak sharpness of what this lens can do. But when you do that with these older lenses, they're already imperfect on their sharpness. And so they get this haze, and you may see that and think that that's not perfect. I look at that and I see artistic qualities, right? If you get closer to the closest focus, which you shouldn't do if you're chasing peak sharpness, you do get this nice look that modern lenses have kind of corrected for. And if we look in the background here, we can see the that these are not bokeh balls. And we did that over here too, just quick and nasty. This is higher ISO than I want to be at, and so it's a little bit dirty. I'm too close to minimum focus, but this is what I'm going after right here. These these wacky bokeh. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These like 7-sided bokeh heptagons. When it's not direct points of light, then they do kind of cream together more. But you definitely probably don't want to shoot like Christmas lights in the background like this, because they're kind of distracting compared to what we're used to these days. Now, because of this kind of thing, this black and white ability, I told you my intention is to shoot this on the F5 on Tri-X, right? And so I know that this is just going to scream off of the film. But this right here and this right here, this is why I can now officially say that I'm ecstatic with this, because, get ready for it, I'm about to show you how much I paid for the AF Nikkor 50mm f1.8D in 2024. In excellent condition, according to KEH, but my judgment, as you can see, it's basically just brand new. It just is as new can get in 2024. Yeah, I paid that many dollars for it. Now you're going to want to subscribe to the channel because it's going to take me a little bit to get a roll of Tri-X through the F5 with the AF Nikkor 50mm f1.8D. But I promise you, by the time you see this, I am already working on that in the background. So if you don't want to miss that, if you want to see the results, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss it. I'm Z Wade, the Z Wade, and Z Wade Photo. Stay sharp, YouTube.